Are you worried about missing something in your TRI reporting? Are you not sure your data is clean or your threshold determinations are correct? We work with companies every year to fix reporting issues before they become violations. And today, I'm walking you through some of the ways we do that. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear sense of what goes wrong in TRI reporting and how RMA can help you get it right. Hey there, I'm Ruhlin from Resource Management Associates, your environmental compliance experts. And if you're watching this, you're probably staring down TRI reporting season and wondering, are we doing this right? Well, you're not alone. TRI reporting is complex, not because it's impossible, but because it touches every part of your operation. Your data, your employees, your technology, your compliance systems, and even your reputation. Here's how we help companies work through the most common TRI issues. Number 1, data and documentation problems. Let's start with the most common trouble area, data and documentation. We see it all the time. Purchasing records don't match production logs, waste vendors provide partial or vague information, or chemicals get added mid-year and never make it into the final numbers. On top of that, people often miss things like diluted chemical concentrations, outdated emission factors, or simple errors in chemical names. Why is that a problem? Because TRI reporting is based on your chemical usage. It needs to be accurate. If your data is inconsistent or undocumented, your submission may not hold up under EPA review. Underreporting can lead to fines, overreporting can bring unnecessary scrutiny, and if you can't explain how you got your numbers, that opens you up to bigger risks. That's why our first step is always a deep data cleanup and reconciliation. We'll cross-check your purchasing, production, and waste records, identify gaps, and review all of your chemical inputs. We make sure your numbers are correct, your emission factors are current, and your calculations are fully documented. If your vendors aren't providing what you need, we'll help you push back to get the right data, or adjust your assumptions appropriately. Our goal is to leave you with numbers you can stand behind, confidently and with a clear paper trail. Number 2, people and expertise problems. Another huge issue? Lack of internal expertise. Sometimes the person who handled TRI left last year and no one really knows where the process stands. Other times, no one technically owns it and it's spread across departments and everyone assumes someone else is handling it. Or maybe the team just feels overwhelmed by EPA guidance and unsure how to apply it to their own operations. This leads to rushed submissions, misunderstandings, and internal tension. We've seen teams under pressure to just get it done fast, which often means copying last year's report or plugging in numbers without context, and that's where serious mistakes happen. Worse, a small error can go unnoticed for years until someone catches it during an audit or a public review. By then, it's a much bigger problem. At RMA, we step in as your on-call TRI experts. We get to know your site, your process, and your team. We walk through the requirements in plain language, bridge any internal gaps, and help everyone get aligned around a clean, accurate reporting process. We'll guide the technical side, coordinate across departments, and even support internal training if needed. Whether we're taking the lead or just filling in the gaps, we make sure your report is handled by people who know exactly what they're doing. Number 3, regulatory and compliance problems. Even for experienced teams, the regulatory side of TRI can be confusing. Thresholds vary by chemical. What qualifies as a release versus a transfer isn't always intuitive. Companies worrying about underreporting or risking penalties, but they also worry about over-reporting and attracting attention. And then there's the confusion between corporate versus site-level responsibilities. Who's really supposed to file? The stakes here are huge. An incorrect submission doesn't just trigger fines, it can damage your relationship with regulators, put you on inspection watch lists, and create compliance gaps that snowball into bigger issues. And let's not forget the record-keeping part. A lot of companies don't realize that you're supposed to maintain a detailed backup documentation for at least 3 years, and often longer if you're operating in a high-profile industry or location. That's why we take a proactive, risk-aware approach. We walk you through the threshold determinations, clarify gray areas, and double-check every release pathway. We don't just file the report. We make sure it's right, defensible, and in line with how your operation really runs. And if this is your first time filing, or your first time realizing you should have filed, we'll help you explore the EPA's audit policy. which can reduce or eliminate penalties for self-disclosed violations. But using that policy correctly matters just as much as using it at all. We often advise you to bring in legal counsel to ensure you're protected, and we help manage that process every step of the way. Next up, technology and process problems. Here's a problem that sneaks up on people: bad internal systems and poor use of the TryMe web portal. If your team dreads logging into that platform, or can't remember passwords, or only touches the system sporadically over the year, you might be flying blind. And if you don't track usage and emissions throughout the year, you're scrambling to rebuild everything from scratch in June. That's a recipe for errors and last-minute panic. TRI reporting isn't something you can bolt on at the end of Q2. It needs upstream planning, reliable data flow, and repeatable workflows. Without those, you spend more time reacting than reporting. And every year it gets harder to piece things together, especially if the people who built last year's spreadsheets aren't around anymore. At RMA, we help you build systems that actually work. We'll train your team on how to use TryMe Web and strongly encourage you to use it as soon as possible to avoid reporting complications. We help you consolidate data from multiple sources into a clear, reliable process. If you want help setting up shared folders, calculation templates, or internal sign-offs, we can do that too. The goal is to take the chaos out of compliance and give you a smoother path forward every single year. Reputation and communication problems. Here's something a lot of companies don't think about until after they've filed: how your TRI data looks to the public. Once your report is submitted, your releases become public, available to regulators, neighbors, advocacy groups, and anyone else who wants to see. And even if you're doing everything right, seeing your name on a list of toxic chemical releases can raise eyebrows fast. This creates a ton of anxiety, especially for facilities near residential communities or with complicated chemical profiles. Some companies start second-guessing what they reported, not because the data is wrong, but because they're worried about how it'll be perceived. That's a tough balance to strike: transparency, compliance, and protecting your reputation. We help clients navigate that tension, first by making sure what you report is accurate and well documented. Second, by helping you understand what the public will see and how to contextualize what, if any, questions come up. We've even worked with clients to prepare internal messaging or media responses so they're not caught off guard. Bottom line, your TRI data is public record. Let's make sure it tells the right story. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, behind the curve, or just unsure about what TRI responsibilities you have, you don't have to go it alone. We've seen it all before, and better yet, we know how to fix it. We're here to help you get it right without the panic, without the guesswork, and without the fear of EPA enforcement breathing down your neck. Reach out, call, email, or visit us online. We'll help you figure out what you need to do to get it done right. I'm Chris Ruhlin with Resource Management Associates, your environmental experts. Thanks for watching.